Do you want to understand what is actually going on between Donald Trump and Joe Biden? When you get headlines like this I just searched for the latest presidential polls, and we've got CNN. Trump is behind. Next is from New York Times. A white flight from Trump. And that's from New York Times. The next is from CNBC. Trump won't agree to accept 2020 results. Biden leads in polls. Do you ever wonder what is actually going on? If we turn over Real Clear Politics, every single poll reported here says that Biden is winning. But let's look at the actual data, not some biased opinion of a reporter or some biased data that the collection of, the stratification of, which is just literally the manipulation of the data that is collected, is biased. And the way the questions are asked creates biases. And the places that they go to gather the data is biased. What about actually seeing what people are doing? What about observing people's behavior, right? Somebody tells you they're a good person, and then you follow them around, right, without them knowing, and you see that they're punching little kids in the face and they're tripping grandmas. Like, maybe they're not a good person. So let's try to understand what's actually going on by observing people's behavior. So what we did is we have three separate factors all related to Facebook to come up with our own Facebook rankings. Every single week we do it, every single day of the week, except for Sundays, we do a different ranking to understand who is winning. In this, we take a look at the two factors from the largest social network in the planet and the largest website in the planet. Google is the largest website, and the largest social network is Facebook. And we take the data from those sites just to observe what people are doing to understand who is actually winning. But first, if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, it's good to freaking see you. All right, so let's get right into it. We already know that, like, the media's North Star, we'll call it, is not objectivity. It is not an accurate representation of what's happening in reality. It is not an objective representation of reality, right? We all came to understand this a long time ago. I don't own a TV. I haven't had a TV since 2009. I knew that it was a joke back then. But what about Facebook, right? Are they going through and suppressing one side or the other? Well, according to the CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, they are not. But this comes from Project Virus. You guys should check this out for actual news. And to understand what is going on, this is from a Facebook content moderator on June 23rd, 2020. So this is about a month ago. Today's the 27th. This is when something gets flagged for content moderation for whatever reason, whether somebody flags it or the algorithm flags it. And this is from the person on hidden camera in Facebook. If someone is wearing a MAGA hat, Make America Great hat, I'm going to delete them for terrorism. This is coming from within Facebook after, what's his face, Zuckerberg, before Congress, testifies that they're not manipulating the political viewpoint in one way or the other. He maybe actually believes that's the truth, or just doesn't have a good understanding of what is actually happening in the company. We have some highlights from this here. This is from Zach McElroy. I think he used to work at Facebook before he quit. He helped with this project in terms of the recording, just to understand how completely and utterly biased it is in there. And he's like, I will testify before Congress about the Facebook bias I witnessed against Trump supporters and conservative causes. Also from the guy who used to work at Facebook. We are essentially in this, and he worked in the content moderation group, right? They're reviewing content that is flagged for one of those two reasons, right? A person flags it or the algorithm flags it. We are essentially in charge of what gets said and what gets stifled. 75 to 80% of posts selected by Facebook's algorithm for moderator review support Donald Trump, Republicans, or conservative causes. This is coming from somebody who worked at the company. And he went through and helped create this video, and you can hear the absolute ridiculousness from people who work in this. At one point, she goes through and says that after, right around when she was leaving this comment, if someone's wearing a MAGA hat, I'm going to delete them for terrorism. And then she's like, I think we all do that. And she's like, looks around at her friends, like who also work in content moderation in that office. What a joke! This is what we're dealing with. Facebook content review lead. This is from somebody, that's their job title. It's a very progressive company who is very anti-MAGA, Make America Great. Facebook's human director restriction of free speech. What? Facebook's human-directed restriction of free speech raises questions regarding the company's protections under Section 203 of the 1976 Communications Decency Act. They had another hearing, I think, about 2 or 3 days after this came out, where they're supposedly going through and reviewing what is actually going on. But this is what we have to deal with on the social media side, where everybody goes to get their information. And then on the other side, we have to get information like this. The single best thing you can do is stop watching, stop reading, and stop listening to any sort of mainstream media. It is a complete and utter waste of your time. If you fill your head up with garbage, what do you think is going to be going on up there? Garbage. So with that being said, let's get into these rankings. We take data from Social Blade. They aggregate different social profiles across the web and different platforms. And we are looking at Donald Trump's Facebook page. The first one we take a look at is a total number of likes gained over the last 30 days relative to Joe Biden. So we have 204 likes on Donald Trump's Facebook page over the last 30 days versus 119, almost 120,000 likes. So that's interesting, because when we look over here, all of these indicate a different story. So do you think something like this is accurate, or do you think something where you see what people are actually doing, right? The person tells you they're a good person to their face, and then you watch out the window as they leave, and there's an old lady, and they push the old lady into the street in front of the bus, and then some kids coming along, and they fucking punch the kid in the face. Like, what do you think? You're an intelligent human being. We have a bonus at the end of here where we actually get into some TikTok data as well. So make sure you stay to the end, because we're going to get into the TikTok data around Trump and around Biden, which is astonishing. Truly, truly astonishing over there. So what do you think is actually going on? Well, another thing we take a look at is the total number of people who are talking about them. This Facebook puts this as like the total number of mentions, shares on posts and content, content likes, the content comments, and they aggregate that together. And we can see here that Donald Trump has 4.3 million plus people talking about him, versus Joe Biden, he's got 900,000. So again, what is going on? We have this collective, the aggregate amount here is like 5.2, 5.3 almost million people, versus over here we have a sample size of 1,400 that the media reports on this. This is being accurate. 1,400 people is being accurate, versus we can watch what people are actually doing. Right? That's why we do these rankings. Tomorrow we got another one coming out, so make sure you press that subscribe button and that bell notification. I believe tomorrow's is the Twitter ranking. So make sure you stay tuned, press the subscribe button and that bell notification. But most importantly, share this message with somebody, because you're not going to get it through the media or any traditional source of information. The next, we actually take a look at the largest search engine on the planet, as well as the largest site on the planet, Google. And Google allows us to track the search volume for each of the candidates. So what we did is Donald Trump Facebook and Joe Biden Facebook. Those are the terms that we looked for. And this is under Google Trends. You can go, and this is why I do this on here. I show you where all the data comes from, so that you can go make an informed decision as an intelligent human being by looking at the data and understanding what is going on in reality versus what is going on when it is completely full of biases and it's played telephone and there's a giant twist of what is happening in reality versus what is presented to the public. So we take a look over here and we can see blue is Trump, red is Biden. We can see that there's a big discrepancy, right? People are just searching more for Donald Trump. And if we take a look at that, we can see that Donald Trump has about 73% of all the searches versus 27% for Joe Biden. So almost 3 searches for Donald Trump versus every 1 search for Joe Biden. What's going on here? Again, this is in the United States over the last 30 days versus with millions and millions and millions of data points versus this over here. This from ABC News has 673 data points. 673 data points versus millions and millions of searches. Which one do you think is going to be more accurate? And I get there's plenty of people who don't have anything better to do with their time and they search for people that they don't like. I get it. I understand. The better question, I think, personally, is what are you doing with your life? Like, do you think that that's an intelligent use of your time versus doing something productive, like making your life better in some capacity, however you want that to be? Just to me seems like a more intelligent thing to do. I don't have time or desire to pay attention to shit that doesn't fucking matter to me. So to take the time to consume somebody else that you don't care for, like Trump supporters consuming Biden or Biden supporters looking for Trump, just doesn't make a lot of sense. Government's not going to solve your problem. That's what you have to do. You have to show the fuck up every day to solve whatever problem it is in your life you need to take care of. You want to make more money? Go make more money. It's not that hard. You want better relationship? Cool. Show the fuck up every day. Let your ego go. Have some humility. Now, let's dive into the really interesting data here, because in every single one of these, we see Trump just completely blowing away what Biden is doing, right? We've got 4.3 million people talking about him versus 900,000. We've got 205,000 people liking his page versus 120,000. And we've got about 3 searches to every 1 search. Let's go over to TikTok. Now, why TikTok? Well, when we look at TikTok, we can see that it is a platform kind of like Vine, but longer form. There's a lot of like attention in the media around this in terms of like national security. But what it comes out to be is a very creative platform that allows people to express themselves in a way that there's much less judgment. Because when you think about the psychology of people posting to, say, Instagram, for example, there is a idea in a lot of people's heads that they have to post a perfect picture, right? And they don't post because they're afraid of judgment from other people. And that is not the idea that comes out in TikTok, right? That people are just acting goofy and silly like they do in normal life. But when you look at who uses TikTok, it is a myriad of different demographics. Skewed a little bit on the younger side, but there's plenty of people over 50 years old using the platform. Millions and millions of people over the age of 50 using the platform. And when you, and you can see right here, I just put in Biden, and you can see this person right here, he's probably in his mid-20s. I have no idea how old this girl is, but she looks like she might be in her early 20s. This girl's probably in her 30s or something, maybe 40. And then these kids here are younger. But it does skew on the younger side. But we have Joe Biden, hashtag Biden 2020 with 800 right here in the middle, 807 million views. Everything's a short form video, 800. And you're like, oh, wow, that's pretty astonishing, right? That's a lot of views for Joe Biden. Until you take a look at Donald Trump with 6.7 billion plus views. 6.7 billion plus views. Astonishing, right? And you're like, well, that doesn't matter. Well, I want to show you another interesting data point. Take a look at this. This is, again, Google Trends. We took a look at different search terms, right? We took a look at TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Now, which one is blue? That's TikTok. This is on YouTube, the second largest site in the planet. What are people looking for? They're not looking for Instagram. They're not looking for Facebook. They're looking for TikTok. And let me show you something really interesting. What's actually happening here is Instagram and TikTok are just getting, Instagram and Facebook are getting blown out of the water. This is a 5-year view. TikTok didn't actually come out in the United States until like 2017 at some point. So from here, look at what's actually going on. Instagram and Facebook are just getting their asses handed to them. And we can see that there's so much more attention for Trump than there is Biden. And attention, my friends, is currency. If you want to do anything in this world, especially in 2020, you need attention. If you want to sell more of your product, get more attention. If you want to impact a cause, get more attention. If you want more donations, get more attention. If you want to meet somebody, get more attention. That's how it works in 2020. Now, if you agree with what we're doing and trying to find the truth of understanding what is actually going on in the American public versus what is happening here, what is happening with the completely biased media, right? Or what is happening even within Facebook. When we just look at the data, who knows if Trump's profile is actually just being suppressed, period, right? Take a moment and think of one person that you can share this message with, whether you just tell them about this or share this video with them. If you don't want to do that, press that thumbs up button. It greatly helps out the channel. I appreciate you guys. And make sure you press that subscribe button for tomorrow's video. We're going to be a good one tomorrow. I appreciate you guys. Peace.